Hey, everybody, and welcome to my basement. I'm Jim Bridgham. I'm a life coach, and I'm here in a basement. Why am I in a basement? Well, to work in your basement, the basement of your heart, the basement of your emotions, of your physicality. Because the basement is kind of like the crawl space where you shove everything you don't really want to go through. It's that storage cabinet that you're like, not looking in there. And if you look around this room, which you can't right now because you're kind of stuck on a video, I've got boxes and things that I need to sort through. But I guarantee in your heart, you have some things you need to sort through too. And so today I want to look at relationships. The most important part, as you can see, stellar technology and amazing heart drawing. You're welcome. I want to give you some principles to help maximize your relationship and give you the best possibility of success. Now, why would I do this? Why am I passionate about it? Well, I'll use a story to illustrate. When I was in college, I took this young lady, 19, I was 18, out on a date. It was the second date. I really wanted to impress her. So I took her in my gray Nissan pickup truck full of rust stains out to Peter Knight Airport, which is in Tampa Bay. Or it's called Davis Island. It's beautiful. So I'm driving out there late at night, totally impressed with myself. I was wearing khaki pants, nice shirt, drive out, and unbeknownst to me, they decided to plant some palm trees there. Now, if you've never seen a palm tree planted, they dig a hole that's anywhere from 6 inches up to 18 or even 24 inches deep. Now, I don't know how deep this was, but I'd go with probably 4 to 5 feet. Now, I know that's much higher, but just bear with me here. And I'm driving in, and boom, the truck goes into the hole. I mean, so deep, and I am mortified. Second date, like, oh my gosh, so trying to impress. And I figure I will totally use my problem solving prowess to figure this out. So what do? I go across the street, grab a 2x4 from the airport I worked at, shoved it under a tire, and I'm like trying to get out, trying to get this truck out. It is not going anywhere. And I'm sitting there trying to figure this out. She's in the car. It's late at night, and I hear tip, 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 the pitter patter of rain. And not a light rainstorm, but we're talking a downpour. So now I'm in this hole. I've got mud caked all over me. I'm completely soaked. I'm mortified. And then my hero comes. A truck drives up, much bigger truck than mine. And he goes, hey, I'll pull you out. But then he goes over to my girlfriend and says, are you safe? Stranger danger? Is this person like, trouble for you? And I'm just now completely mortified. So we get out of the hole thanks to this truck driver, get her back, I bring her to her dorm, and I shake her hand like this far apart. I say, ma'am, it was really great to go on this single date with you tonight. I know you'll never talk to me again, but thanks. She said, no, maybe we'll do this again. And I said, okay, thinking she'll never call me. And turns out she did, and now it's been 19 years later, and we're married. We've been married for 17 years. I know it's weird. But perhaps you are like me in that case. You're in a hole, relationally. You're covered in mud. And you have people talking to your significant other saying, hey, is this guy really the one for you? Is this lady the person of your dreams? Oh, figuratively speaking, of course. But I want to help you get out of that hole. So I'm going to give you some practical solutions, some hopefully helpful tips that'll help you do so. So we're going to start here. We're going to take our slide and move it. And here we're going to say, become the best version of you. So often I have people who come into my practice and say, if only my spouse would be better. If only he would lose 50 pounds. If only she would get off the couch and help more. Whatever the criticism is, I point it back at the person and say, hey, what are you doing? Are you the best version of you? You want your spouse to look like Ryan Reynolds? Then get in the gym. Start losing some weight. Work out. You want your wife to be a 9 on a scale of 10? Go to the gym, work out. You get yourself to look like a 9 or 10. Because we attract who we are at our core. And if you want your spouse to be better, then you need to be better. You want them to help with the kids, you help with the kids more. You want them to cook, you cook even better. You do things that are going to incite them and incentivize them to work harder. And how that is becoming the best version of you. If you sit back and just criticize your significant other and say, they should do this, they should do that, you can should all over them, but what's going to incite them to change is you changing. And I've had to do it, and it's not easy. Sometimes you want to sit back and say, if only they'd change, I'd be better. And it's unfair, and frankly, life's unfair. But you want to have the best spouse ever, then you become the best spouse ever. Roger that. Got it. Okay, next one here. Questions. This one's so easy that when couples come to me and I give this advice, they often come back surprised weeks later, like, oh my gosh, it actually worked. Shocking. Questions. Ask your spouse 2 questions every day. My theory comes from the 36 question study, which 2 psychologists took basically a bunch of random people on a campus and they asked each other 36 questions. And at the end, they rated their emotional engagement, their fulfillment, their intimacy of that engagement. And what they found was it was the highest level of intimacy they'd ever experienced just by asking a random person and being asked 36 questions. Every day, how I do this is I ask my wife 2 questions, which I steal from If, Questions for the Game of Life, which you can get on Kindle. You're welcome, Amazon. See, I'm helping them. Come on, it's funny. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking questions. I ask her those questions. She answers, and she asks me 2 questions, which she may get from Pinterest or wherever. But what it happens is I've learned so much about her since I've been doing this over the last 3 years, where I'm like shocked. I've known her for 19 years, and I'm still learning things. Now, an important caveat to this, and you can go Google 36 questions and find them. There's a New York Times article about it. It's super interesting study. But when you ask these questions, it should be fun. Just fun. Like, have fun with this. It shouldn't be like, why didn't you take the trash out? Like, why can't you suck less? Like, whatever. Say, like, how can, like, what's your favorite color? Like, or if you can invite anyone from, like, history to come and have dinner with you, who would it be? If you could go spend a night by yourself anywhere in the world, what would that look like? Those are the kind of questions that are fun. And just take some fun with them. But 2 questions a day, each person, 4 total, seems pretty good. And if you don't believe me, try this for 3 weeks and rate your relationship. And then write to me. My contact information is below. I bet you'd be surprised. The next one's embrace the fire. And as a coach, you have to say fire like that to be certified. Not really. But I know for yoga instructors, you have to say earth to get certified. At least that's what I believe from watching so many yoga and going to so many yoga studios. I can't do that, so I will never be certified as a yoga instructor. But embracing the fire. In any relationship, there's going to be difficulty. There's going to be challenge. If you think you've found the perfect mate, that everything is going to be smooth sailing, I am so sorry. Someone has lied to you. Your spouse is going to be your greatest ally and also someone who knows how to hurt you deeper than anyone that you've ever met. Because they're going to know all of the ugly parts of you as well as the beautiful parts. I know for sure, based on the few arguments I've had with my wife in the last few years, that all it takes is one poke in the right place and we could break each other. That's it. It doesn't take much. Now, we don't do that by choice, but you have to be very vulnerable with your spouse. But when you have those arguments, those disagreements, the goal of them should be to help make both of you better. It's like if you've ever seen a stone that goes from a quarry to turn into something that goes into a house. They have to kind of sand the sides. They have to do some pretty big work to turn that into that perfect, whether it's a rectangle or square, like to make that perfect stone. And that's what marriage is. It's fire. It's a stone quarry where it's taking off those rough edges. And the thing I like to think about, and a great analogy from years past, is if you've ever seen someone who works with gold, so they're actually turning it into molten gold, how they know that the gold is perfect is when they look into it and it's a smooth surface. All the impurities are out. And in relationships, when you can see into your partner and see their life and you see a reflection of yourself and they see a reflection of you that's not one-sided, that's when you two have become one. When your lives have become something so much greater because all the impurities are gone. Now, I haven't reached that point in my relationship. We still have, things that we work through, challenges that we go through, but we've certainly helped each other through it in many, many ways. Okay, listen. Okay, so this is so great. And people come in, they're like, I do listen, while they're looking at their phone, while they're looking at their computer. What I'm going to tell you this, if you're in a relationship, and it can be an intimate relationship like I'm primarily talking about, or a work relationship or kids, stop what you're doing and listen to them. Put down the phone. It'll be okay, I promise. You can put it down, you can check it, in 20 minutes, it'll be fine. If you're at work, get off your computer, turn around and face the person you're talking with. Get all the distractions out of your mind, out of your face, and listen. And listen from your heart. Listen from where are they coming from? And ask the questions that indicate you're wondering where they're coming from. Wow, that's an interesting point. How did you find that? How did you do that? How did you feel when that person asked that question? Ask those kind of things. That's that listening I'm talking about. Not that passive listening where like, oh, whatever. Listen actively. I mean, I'm going to be totally honest with you. My kids play some video games I don't even understand, like at all. And like, for instance, CSGO is one of them. Totally don't get it. But I listen to my son and I repeat back like, oh, that must have been difficult. That must have been challenging. And really listen into what he's saying. So I don't have to fundamentally understand the core of what he's talking about, but understand the importance of it to him. And that's why I listen. Okay, next one here. Tear down them walls. Go Ronald Reagan on those communist walls. We put walls up around our heart as a protective measure. When you've been hurt in the past, emotionally, physically, or otherwise, walls come up. And they're actually a good thing. Spiritually, they keep you from experiencing more pain. But the problem with walls, if you've ever seen a castle wall, like the water stays in, it becomes stagnant. There's no inflow or outflow. So inside your heart, there can become bitterness and pain and challenge, and because you're not really letting things come in. So I say this graciously and as well as I can. If you've experienced a lot of pain, you got to work with somebody to help take those walls down. And I'm going to give you a quick exercise in a minute, but without taking those walls down, you can't truly experience love because love won't be able to come in and love won't be able to go out. Oh, you'll be safe, but you'll also be safe and secure from ever fully experiencing a life of love, a life of romance with someone that you deeply want to connect with. So how do you take them down? Well, it's pretty easy. Imagine yourself surrounded by light, just completely surrounded by light. Then this is just spirit keeping you safe. And just allow that light to come and permeate your body. So just visualize. That's creating a picture in your head is visualization. And let that light permeate you almost like you're a sponge. But then focus on your heart and just feel that spirit just tearing the walls down and watch the walls come down. And as you do, you will feel a flood of emotions. People who do this that I work with routinely come back and say, I cannot believe this worked. Now, it might not be the first try as we're going through this video and I talk at 10,000 words per minute with gusts to 50,000. But I will tell you that as you let spirit take those walls down, you're going to start to experience love. And you might feel a flood of emotions you've never felt before. But again, just feel that light around you. And from my faith tradition, I like to see Archangel Michael with me as well to just keep me safe from anything evil or trying to hurt me and to help tear down those walls even more to make sure nothing kind of comes back up. And I recommend, even if you don't resonate with this tip, that you go back and try once in a while and just see, hey, maybe it's not a wall, but maybe it's a fence post popped up. Maybe there's some barbed wire in there. Whatever it is spiritually, just take that out. It is not worth it. Oh, yeah, you open yourself up to pain by doing so, but you also open yourself up to an intense amount of pleasure and positive emotion that you may never have fully experienced. So tear down them walls. Finally, forgive. And this one, it's not easy, super hard. We all have people who've hurt us super, super deeply. And there might still be ramifications for you from it, whether emotionally, physically, personally. People hurt people. It's kind of like what we all do. We don't mean to, but we do. And you need to forgive them. But you also need to forgive yourself. So I'm going to start with forgiving them and then forgiving yourself. Forgive them. First of all, if you had any contribution to the problem, you need to own it. Now, I know most of the cases people I've talked with who've been in intense difficulty, intense challenges, they had nothing to do with it. But own whatever you do if you do. But what I do is spiritually, so not with the person physically, I say that you have hurt me. I visualize them and say, it really caused this impact. So you hurt me with X, caused Y. And now I forgive you. Because I don't want anyone living rent-free in my brain. I don't. So I let that go. It's just not worth it. The second point is if you need to forgive yourself, what I suggest is this. Visualize yourself across the table in your mind, in the picture, in the quiet space of your mind in your house, and address that person. Not in a schizophrenic way, but just in a visualization way. Come on, bear with us here. This is a spiritual practice and it's important. But tell that person, that visualization of yourself, or in front of a mirror if this is hard for you, you made this mistake, that mistake, that mistake. Maybe you chose the wrong partner. Maybe you left when you should have stayed. Maybe you stayed when you should have left. Whatever it is, you tell yourself, I know you did this and it caused this pain, and I forgive you. And then then imagine yourself, or if you're using a mirror, tell yourself, I accept your apology. Now, with people I've worked with through this, I can actually get emotional about. It's pretty deep experience, because we all have those regrets, those difficulties that we want to forgive, that we want to release from our lives, but we beat ourselves up about. Forgive yourself. It's exceptionally powerful. And regarding the other one, if you are still holding vindictive feelings or anger towards someone else, I'm just going to assure you, people sow and reap. There's a karma, whatever you want to call it, but that stuff's out of time and space. So to get really hippie on you for a minute, when someone's doing something that's bad and they don't get the ramifications right away, it's actually happened to them already. So it isn't always for like I don't even believe next life thing, but like it's affecting them now. So you need to know that sowing and reaping is a thing. Karma is a spiritual principle. These people are going to get what they deserve, but that's not for you to deliver. And you holding on to it isn't going to help that process. So forgiving them is what's going to release you and help you to find your best self and to have your best relationships. Because you got to tear down them walls and you got to open up that heart. And that's how you do it, is through forgiveness. So this is some relationship points. If you still need help, I just suggest you reach out to any coach. And, counseling's great too. And, I know some spectacular social workers, but really what you need is a relationship coach, someone who's going to take you from who you are to the next level. So it doesn't have to be me, that's fine, but find a certified professional coach that's going to be able to work with you and bring your relationship to the next level. Life's too short to have a crappy relationship. If you're in one where you're like, this sucks, I'm going to tell you right now, move on. Find something, improve it, or move on. And I'll tell you right now, you can improve a relationship. I've seen some terrible situations go from bad to spectacular. But it requires work. I work on mine every day, and I'm telling you, it's wonderful. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. Thank you for watching my inaugural series of videos, and hope it works out okay. Bye.